Welcome to our share on Rambam's Hilchot Yesodei HaTorah. Our episode is dedicated in memory of Levi ben Moshe Esser and Elisheva Yael bat Leah Levi, and also Mori Rabbi Harav Roni Salah ben Avram Ezra. So I'm going to hand you over to Michael.
Thank you, Baba Kalati. So this Perek Tishi, the 9th Perek, we're continuing along the theme of prophecy, and we're going to deal with the halachot relating to the when you should believe and when you should not believe a prophet. What condition? What qualifies a novi, or what disqualifies a novi. So let's start. Halacha 1. Davar baror forash b'Torah. It is clear and explicit in the Torah. Shehi mitzvah omedet leolam olam olamim. That it is God's commandment that remains forever. Ein la lo shinoi lo gerayon v'lo tosefet. It remains forever without change, addition, or subtraction. As it is stated in Devarim 13:1, Es kol hadavar asher anochi matzava etchem oto tishmuru la'asot. All these matters which I command to you, you shall be careful to perform. Lo tosef alav v'lo tigra mimenu. You may not add to it or subtract from it. And it also brings another quote from Devarim 29:28. Vahaniglaot v'lanu ulvanenu ad olam leasot et kol divrei Torah hazot. What is revealed to us, what is revealed is for us and for our children forever, to carry out all the words of the Torah. Halamadta, this teaches us shekol divrei Torah mitzuvin anu leasotan ad olam, that we are commanded to fulfill all the Torah's directives forever. V'chein hu ameh, and it is also said, chukat olam l'doraseichem. It is an everlasting statute for all your generations. And furthermore, v'ne'emah v'lo b'shamayim hi, and also it is not in the heavens. This teaches us that we are commanded to fulfill all the. This teaches us that the prophets can no longer add a new precept to the Torah. So, what does this mean? It is not in the heavens.
Lo b'shamayim hi. It basically means that the Torah itself, the Torah shebiktav, is immutable. It's not for negotiation. It's not for change. But the Torah shebal peh was given to the chachamim of the generation to formulate in their own way, according to their own knowledge and wisdom, which of course is way beyond our conception, and therefore, whereas the Torah shebiktav cannot be changed, the Torah shebal peh can be changed. Like in the story of Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol, which I'm sure we're all familiar with, where Rabbi Eliezer was arguing with the Chachamim, and Rabbi Eliezer went through a few proofs, and ultimately a voice from heaven came down and said, of course the halakha is like Rabbi Eliezer, meaning the Chachamim who argued with Rabbi Eliezer were wrong. So for me and you, that would be a conclusive proof. However, the Chachamim, because they were the majority, their answer to this, as is delineated in the Gemara, was Lo b'shamayim. It's not in heaven, it's for us down here. I mean, obviously, we're talking about Chachamim, we're not talking about ordinary people. So it's not in heaven to be decided. It's Hashem gave us, meaning the Chachamim, the reshut, the permission to be halachic arbiters in this world. I should add a postscript here that all this is true. However, in reality, ironically, Rabbi Eliezer was correct. Rabbi Eliezer was right all along. But because the Chachamim were not on his level to even understand what he was, what he understood, they opposed him with the wrong answer. But because they were the majority, the halacha went like them. So even in the face of truth, this shows you the power of the majority. This shows you the strength of Lo b'Shamayim, the Torah is not in heaven. It's for us, the Chachamim in this world. Even if they're wrong, by virtue of the majority, they're still correct.
And Rambam continues, Lefichach im ya'amod ish. Therefore, if a person will arise, ben min ha'umot, or ben mi Yisrael, whether Jew or Gentile, v'ya'aseh ot, or mefot ve'omar, shehashem shelacho. And if this person performs a sign or wonder and says that God has sent him, lahosif a mitzvah, to add a mitzvah, or ligwa mitzvah, or to subtract a mitzvah, or lifrosh b'mitzvah min ha-mitzvot perush shelo shamunu mimoshe, or to explain a mitzvah in a manner which differs from the tradition received from Moses, or he says, she'otan hamitzvot shenitztavu bahen Yisrael einom leolam, or if he says that a mitzvah commanded to the Jews are not forever, or ledorei doros, but or forever, ela mitzvot lefi zman hayu, or but rather that they were given for a limited time only. Harezeh novi sheker. This determines that he is a false prophet. Shahareva lahachchish nevuato shel Moshe, because he comes to deny the prophecy of Moses. Umitaso bechenek, and he should be executed by strangulation. Al shehazir ledaber b'shem Hashem asher lo tzivahu, because he had dared to make a statement in God's name, which God never made. Shehu Baruch Shemo Tziva Moshe, God, blessed be his name, commanded Moshe, Shehamitzvah Hazot Lanu Ulvanenu Ad Olam, that this commandment is for us and for our children forever. Lo Ish El V'Yechazev, and God is not man that he speaks falsely. So the false prophet is determined by statements that are tantamount to denying Moshe's prophecy, which ultimately is insinuating that God spoke falsely, because Moshe's nevuah was directly from God. And so if you contradict that and you say, no, he didn't mean that, it means to imply that God actually wasn't talking correctly. And obviously that would be incorrect.
Absurd.
Yes.
The word.
Halacha base. Im kain, if so, lama na'omar b'Torah, navi akim lahem kerev acheihem kamocha. What is meant by the Torah statement in Devarim 18:18? And I quote, I will appoint a prophet from among their brethren like you, and I will place my words in his mouth, and he will speak. Lo la'asot das huva. He is not coming to establish a new faith, ela letzavot al divrei haTorah, but rather to command the people to fulfill the precepts of the Torah, ulahachazeh ha'am shelo ya'avru aleha, and to warn against its transgression. K'mo she'omar ha'achoron shebahem zichru Torat Moshe Avdi. As evidenced by the final prophet, referring to Malachi, who proclaimed in, I think, Malachi 3:22, remember the Torah of Moshe, my servant. V'chein im tzavonu b'divrei harishut kugon. Also, a prophet may command us to do something which is neither permitted nor forbidden by Torah law. For example, lachu lamakom ploni or al telachu. For example, go to such and such a place, or do not go to such and such a place. Asu milchama hayom, or al ta'asu, wage war today, or do not do so. Bonu choma zu o al tuvnuha, build a wall, or do not build it. Mitzvah lishmalo, in these instances it is a mitzvah to listen to him. V'ha'over al devorav, v'chayav mita b'dei shamayim. Anyone who violates this prophet's directives is worthy of death at the hands of God, as it is stated in Devorim 18:19. V'haya ha'ish asher lo yishma el divrei hanavi asher yadaber bishmi anochi edrosh me'emo. As it says in Devarim, and the person who will not heed my words, God talking, which he speaks in my name, I will seek retribution from him. So we are commanded, if the Navi is it instructs us, if he's a genuine Navi and he instructs us, not only is a mitzvah to listen to him, it's a severe avera not to listen to him, and God will seek retribution, because it's this Navi has reached such a point that he's basically an oracle of God, and God is transferring vital messages to the nation to go to war, do not go to war, build a wall, do not build a wall, things that can change the course of history. And this is God placing his messenger in our midst, and it is a mitzvah to listen to him, and an avera to not to disregard this individual, the prophet. Halacha 3. Similarly, a prophet who violated his own prophetic instruction. For example, he was given the message and he thought, I'm not going to give this message, or he's perhaps reluctant for some reason to give the message. V'hakovesh nevuato, and one who refrains from prophesying. So in other words, he's achieved this gift, or he's acquired this gift, willingly or not willingly, he's acquired this gift. And if he decides the whole thing freaks him out too much, or scares him, or he's not he's for some reason he's reluctant, this is a very serious thing. We don't think about that. The reluctant prophet. It's the concept that's being dealt with here by Rambam. Chayav mita b'dei shamayim. This Novi, who refrains from prophesying or violates his own prophetic instructions, is worthy of death at the hand of God. Ushal shaltan no'omar, and since concerning the three of them, it is said, Anochi edrosh me'imo, I will seek retribution from him. B'chein im yoma lanu hanavi, when a prophet, shenoda lanu shehu navi, who has already proven himself to be a prophet, le'avor al achat mikol mitzvot ha'omrot b'Torah, who instructs us to violate one of the mitzvot of the Torah, or al mitzvot harbe, or many mitzvot, ben kalot, or ben chamurot, whether it be of a severe or light nature, lefi shah, for a limited amount of time. Mitzvah lishmalo, it's a mitzvah to listen to him. So Rambam is telling us here that if a Novi comes he's proved himself to be a Novi, and he tells us to violate a mitzvah, whether it be severe or light, for a limited amount of time, not forever, a limited amount of time, it is a mitzvah to listen to him. The sages of the early generations taught as part of the oral tradition. Mikol im yoma lacha hanavi avo al divrei Torah. If a prophet tells you to violate the precepts of the Torah, ka Eliyahu bahar haKarmel shomar lo, like Elijah did on the Mount of Carmel, you must listen to him. Chutz me'avodat kochavim, in regards to all things except for the worship of false gods. V'hu sheyihi hadavar lefi shah. This applies when his command is temporary in nature.
This, of course, refers to the incident when Eliyahu Navi, Zachor Latov, challenged the Nevi'ei Baal, the prophets of idolatry, because they had the false prophets had a very they were very influential, and Eliyahu Navi had to stop them because this thing was running riot. So he made a standoff. I think that's the best way of describing it. Mm-hmm. He called in the afternoon. He called a meeting for the. It was in some field somewhere or in a valley. I can't remember exactly where it was. It was outside, and they both built altars, and that's Eliyahu Navi said to the Nevi'ei Baal, you offer your korbanot, your offerings to your gods. I will offer it to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, L'havdil ben Chaim, L'havdil Avdalot, and we'll see. Whoever's the winner is the winner. And of course, the Nevi'ei Baal offered offerings, and they were crying, and nothing was happening. And Eliyahu Navi said, "Come on, maybe your God's asleep. Maybe he's in the bathroom. Maybe he's doing this. Maybe he's doing that. Maybe scream louder." And they screamed until the blood came out of their eyes. And Eliyahu Navi famously said, he said the words, "Aneni Hashem, Aneni, answer me, Hashem, answer me." And he was answered, and the fire came down on his back, and all the Nevi'ei Baal, they died. I think they died or they were killed. I can't remember. But Eliyahu Navi came out triumphant. It was a massive Kiddush Hashem.
Yeah. So yes, and Rambam continues. Kugon, for example, Eliyahu b'Har Carmel, she'akriv olah b'chutz v'Yerushalayim nibcheret lakach. For example, on Mount Carmel, Elijah offered his sacrifice outside the temple's premises, even though Yerushalayim was chosen for such a service. V'hamakriv b'chutz chayav kores. And one who offers a sacrifice outside the temple's premises is liable for kores. Since he was already established as a prophet, it was a mitzvah to listen to him. And also it is the commandment Elov Tishma'un, the commandment of listen to him. Eliyahu v'amru. It also applies in these circumstances as well. Ve'ilu sha'alu et Eliyahu v'amru, and if they would have asked Elijah, ha'ech na'akar ma'ak shekasuv b'Torah, how can we violate the Torah's commandments in Devarim? That is, and I quote, Pen ta'aleh olosecha b'chol makom. Be careful lest you offer your burnt offerings everywhere. Haya Omer, he would have told them, and I quote, Lo nomar ela l'makriv b'chutz la'olam chayav kores. We should not say anything other than that anyone who offers a sacrifice outside the temple premises is liable for karet. Kmo she'tziva Moshe, just as Moshe said, in this present tense, Aval ani akriv hayom b'chutz b'dvar Hashem k'dei lahachish niva'ei habal. However, I am offering a sacrifice today outside the temple at God's command in order to disprove the prophets of Baal. So there are cases, temporary cases for special instances where it is permissible to follow the instructions of this prophet, not worrying that he's doing something wrong, but it's in order to prove a significant individual point. And Rambam continues, Ve'al derech hazot. Similarly, Im tzevu'u kol hanuvim le'avar lefi sha'a. If any other prophet commands us to transgress for a limited time, mitzvah lishmo lahem, it is a mitzvah to listen to him. Ve'im amru shehadavar na'akar le'olam mitaso bechenek. But if, however, he says that the mitzvah has been nullified forever, in other words, permanently, he is liable for execution by strangulation. Shatorah Omra, just as the Torah has told us, Lanu ulvanenu ad olam, it is for us and our children forever. Halacha 4, V'chein im oka Similarly, if a prophet nullifies a concept which was transmitted by the oral tradition, or states with regards to one of the Torah's laws, that God commanded him to render such and such a judgment, or that such and such is the law regarding a particular instance, and the decision follows a certain opinion. He is a false prophet and should be executed by strangulation. Even if he performs wonders, for he is coming to deny the Torah, of which it is stated, as we said before, it is not in the heavens. Halacha Hey, Bameh Dvarim Amurim. When does the previous law apply? B'sha'ah mitzvot, with regard to all other mitzvot. Aval be'avodat kochavim, but regarding the worship of false idols, en shom'in lo, you should not listen to this prophet. Va'afilu lefi sha'ah, even if he suggests it's for a limited time only. Ve'afilu asa otot umofsin agadolim, even if he performs great wonders and miracles. Ve'omar shehashem tzivahu sheta'avod ovadat kochavim hayom bilvad. Even if he says to you that God commanded him to worship false gods only on this day, or only or b'sha'ah zo bilvad, or just during this hour, harezeh diber tzara al Hashem, he is considered to have spoken perversely against God. And Rambam concludes, Ve'al zeh tzivah hakasuv ve'yomah, concerning this, the Torah has commanded us in Devarim 13 verses 3 to 6, Uva ha'ot v'hamofet lo tishma el divrei hanavi hahu. If, in a quote, if a sign or miracle is performed, and he tells you, let us serve other gods, do not listen to the words of this prophet. Ki diver tzara al Hashem Elokeichem, because he is speaking perversely against God your Lord. Shaharei ba lachachish nevuato shel Moshe, he is coming to deny the prophecy of Moshe. Or lafichach neida b'vadai shehu navi sheker, and we may definitely then thereby conclude that he is a false prophet. V'chol ma she'asa balat v'keshush asa v'yichanek, and everything that he did was performed through sorcery and magic, hence therefore he should be executed by strangulation. So the prophet, we learn from here, the prophet's words have to be absolutely accurate, and they have to be in line with the cast iron nature of the Torah. No prophet should arise and tell you to stop doing this forever, or that this mitzvah is now, its time has come to be concluded. He talks if he talks that perhaps on a temporary basis things should be changed, then he should be believed. But if he says that anything should be changed permanently, something should be stricken from the records or the books, this you must realize that he is talking from perhaps a side of sorcery, or he's trying to trick, he's a trickster, and he should not be believed, and the necessary steps should be taken, i.e. chenek. And this concludes this chapter of the 9th chapter of Yesodei HaTorah.
Very good, thank you so much, Michael. That was very interesting. I'm hoping now that the idea of prophecy is going to be relevant, because we're living in such troubled times. We're praying for Mashiach every day. So B'ezras Hashem should lead us to the real Mashiach, and not any false prophet, and we should be able to tell the difference. And we look forward to hearing from you next time. Until then, have a wonderful and blessed week.